Welcome back to my channel where I talk about food, where I share fitness routines, and I talk about my testimony, which is my fate that I like to go over and talk about. But today I'm going to do a reaction video of food, and it's processed food. These are kind of videos like I like to be an advocate for, of healthy eating and bad eating, and what kind of food that we should be aware of, and what's the cause of these chronic diseases in our country, which is USA. And I'm not the cleanest eater for myself, right? But I do acknowledge what is good and what is bad. There is times that I do eat processed plant-based food, which is what they call vegan food. So, but I'm gonna talk about regular the animal diet, which is like fast food, like McDonald's, Taco Bell. I'm thinking this is what they're gonna go over when they talk about the reality of ultra processed food. So I think there's levels of processed food. I've never seen this video, so I wanted to watch it first time and just react to my thoughts, my reaction, and just share my opinion about it, right? So let's get to this video.
You are most likely eating pre-digested food on a daily basis without even knowing it. Ultra-processed foods nowadays aren't just junk foods, but they're hidden everywhere, and you really have to look hard to find these ultra-processed foods today. These foods are literally all over and ubiquitous throughout grocery stores here in the United States, and in fact, nearly 73% of all food in grocery stores are considered ultra-processed foods. Today's video is talking all about these ultra-processed foods and how they're not only just bad for your health and addictive, but how they can be pretty harmful for us as human beings. According to emerging science, these ultra-processed foods occur due to a manufacturing process that pre-digests the food initially through heavy processing, creating these ultra-processed foods that actually bypass your own body's physiologic response of normal digestion and overall sense of fullness. The bottom line is we today in America are eating majority of our diet coming from pre-digested foods. So what the heck does ultra-processed even mean? Well, this has to do with how the foods are processed, right? Completely shocking and groundbreaking, I know. The idea of pre-digested food essentially works like this. Basic foods such as wheat, potatoes, and corn are disassembled into their molecular structures of starchy flours, protein isolates, fats, or what most manufacturer companies call slurries. These slurries are then taken through different steps and processes in order to create the foods that we see today. I'll repeat this point because it is so important. The defining feature of ultra-processed foods does not necessarily mean that a food is really bad for you, like it has a list of bad ingredients, or that it has high in sugar, high in fat, high in calories, which all of these things are true. But the major defining feature is that if you wanted to recreate a pack of Doritos in your own home, you literally couldn't do it without special equipment. Now, there are several levels of processed foods, or rather, processed foods themselves kind of lie on a spectrum. To explain this further, I want to put this on the screen here so you can see the differences that I'm talking about. Starting with largely unprocessed foods, we have things like meat, fruit, vegetables, and things in this category are pretty self-explanatory. When we move on to the next category, we talk about lightly...
I believe some meat is processed, right? There's a process of them, like in the grocery stores, when it comes to like beef, chicken, not your ordinary process like what he's gonna go into at certain grocery stores, like canned foods or box food or microwavable food. Yo, those are processed food. But do I believe, as he had, I think he had meat. Some meat goes through a process, meaning that what happens is they spray these antibiotics, they spray these steroids or inject them with steroids, the animals. So these are processed food, right? Nowadays, a lot of these animal product food like chicken, beef, pork is processed. So I don't know why he labeled it unprocessed food. Hopefully he clarifies it or explains it, right? Because I'm disagreeing on that. Now, when it comes to fruits and vegetables, those are whole plant based. Those are not processed food. They're naturally grown food. Well, in some places where they distribute to grocery stores, they do spray some chemicals, right? So, can I call that processed? It could be. I mean, I'm not too sure. I'm not so well knowledge of that, but it's better eating that than eating carcinogen meats with all these antibiotics and steroids in it. But let's get back to the video.
We talk about lightly processed culinary ingredients, but these are things that we see pretty normally within our diet, such as honey, butter, salt, etc. Then we move on to the third category, such as processed foods, and these are foods like wine, cheese, and bread. These are foods where you have to undergo a certain degree of changing of the structure from where the basic ingredients come from, but it's not overly complex or difficult to do. The final category, and this is the crux of today's talk, these are the categories of ultra-processed foods that I am referring to. When you hear the word ultra-processed, think things like Oreos, Cheetos, Doritos, Wonder Bread, Beyond Beef patties, etc. A really important point to distinguish here is that processed foods.
Beyond Beef patty, that's a plant-based product, right? I heard many theories and rumors the process of making it. I know it's a processed vegan food, but it's not an animal product food. Do I believe it's bad? It's bad, but I don't believe it's bad as McDonald's burgers, their McDonald's chicken nuggets, or a lot of these other fast food of these products that they're talking about, which compares to Beyond Meat, right? Beyond Meat, I always heard rumors. Yes, it is somewhat bad, but it's not bad as these other processed items. Oreo cookie, that's a plant-based item, but I know it's really bad for you. So I'm guilty of Oreo cookies.
Processed foods themselves aren't necessarily a bad thing, as we see from the spectrum on the screen. There are certain ingredients that are processed in order to create meals that we can use with whole foods. However, it's when we move from the gently processed or processed foods into that ultra processed category that we run into some trouble. So why exactly are these ultra processed foods so bad for you? Well, there's a quote that I'd like to go over that pretty much says, much like the regurgitated food mother birds feed their babies in the nest, ultra processed food is quick and easy to digest, but that's not how the human digestive system is meant to work. When food moves through the digestive system in ways Mother Nature didn't intend, the body loses the ability to send a signal of fullness to the brain. In other words, what this quote is essentially saying is when you eat these ultra-processed foods, your body can't undergo the normal physiologic processes to, number one, send a signal to your brain that you are full, so you end up eating way more calories than you would otherwise. And number two, your body actually can't digest these foods as well as it can digest whole foods. So not only do these foods contain a lot of bad ingredients, such as heavily processed seed oils, extra refined added sugar, among other things, they are already pre-digested and hack your own body's physiology, not allowing our bodies to digest these foods in the way that we were intended to. This can actually lead to this toxic cycle of craving these foods more and more, leaving you hungrier and hungrier, which makes you consume more of the foods. Consuming more of the foods leads to extra calories, and it creates this vicious cycle of crave and consumption that is actually very difficult to break. Now, if this video has really resonated with you and you're wanting to take steps in order to remove some of these ultra processed foods from your diet, but
There you go. So you seen that video? I'm not gonna go all the way in it. He has like 20 seconds left. It's from Blood Pressure Doc. The video is called "The Disturbing Reality of Ultra Processed Food." He didn't really go into depth. I seen other videos with other doctors speaking the negative effects with processed food, which something like I said I'm very familiar of. I'm big on fitness and health, so I'm very aware of food and especially processed food. I'm a big believer in whole plant-based consumption, which is eating more plant-based in my everyday, which is like vegetables, green leaves, legumes, grains. I believe in starch as like potatoes, sweet potatoes. I don't know. A beet is considered a root, so like roots, carrots, beets. So I'm a big fan of these kind of food. I eat processed items? Yes, I do. You know, like I would say flour tortilla from the store. That's processed the way how they make it, right? But like fast food, processed food, I think it's the worst. Fast or food from gas stations is the worst. These fast and go items or food is like the worst ultra processed food. Like he said, like I said before, he even said it. I didn't know he was gonna say it, but there's levels of processed food, and these are like the worst ones on the pyramid of the tier, right? So, like I said, I'm very familiar with these kind of food. I want to do more videos like this and share information about how bad processed food is, because I'm very observant. You know, when I'm on the road, when I'm at stores, I'm very observant to what people buy, what they eat. When I still pass by fast foods, like I'm at the stoplight, sometimes I'm so surprised that like McDonald's and Popeyes and all these fast food chains is still busy. You know what it is, and there's so much information, but nobody want to pay attention to these kind of information. People still want to be comfortable in the way they eat, but it's a bad cycle, because exactly like what he said, once you start eating these bad processed food, you could eat more and more and more. So it's hard for you to get full. You can just continue to just consume and consume and consume, right? You could just be eating when you don't even have to be eating. So I believe that's a big problem in this country. Where one of our number one enemy in this country is our diet. I strongly believe that it's very it's in one of the worst levels in the world, which is America. I pay attention to people a lot, their diet, the way they look, the way, just everything. You know, a bad diet affects a lot of things in your life. It does not only affect your life and the health, it affects your way of living at the moment, in the present, right? It affects your mental health. It makes you lazy, and these are the bad things that come with processed food. So yeah, so I just wanted to share. I thought this was a cool video. I just seen it, trying to look for some videos for content, and I was scrolling, and like I said, I'm very aware. So, you know, when coming to a new lifestyle of health, people think they got to jump into working out, starting eating more of this and eating more of that, which is, those are good things to start on, right? But at the same time, they need to learn how to eliminate certain food in their diet or in their lifestyle, which is these ultra processed food, chips, cookies, like Oreo cookies is real bad. Hey, I'm guilty of Oreo cookies, you know, but I try my best not to abuse it. I like cookies, but I like it better when it's home cooked cookies. Like my wife, she makes some real good cookies, and she started adding some chaga into it, some mushrooms. So I know what's going in it, right? I know what she's putting into these cookies, so it's more comfortable, and to me, it's much more healthier. But like I said, there's so many videos and information on processed food and healthier food. There's no excuses for a person to be better in the way they eat and the way they live and just change their lifestyle, right? So that was my video for today. I hope you guys like it. If you have time, go check out this video. And there's many more videos like this, and I will try to share more plant-based information, healthy eating information, and just a new way of life, right? So I hope you like this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And I see you in the next one. Peace.